All right, good morning. Welcome to the video. Methodical Man here, coming to you on a Thanksgiving day here. Going to do a little back test. Last week we did the 1 minute chart back test. Today I want to take a look at the 30-second chart. Really haven't done a back test on the 30-second chart, so I kind of wanted to take a look at it just 2 or 3 days here. And we're going to be looking at taking every entry and seeing if we would have got a winner or a loser. So the rules on the 30-second chart are going to be a little different from the 15-second chart. 15-second, we take the entry off the 30, and we're just looking for 5 handles. 30-second chart, we are going to be taking the swing points and the entries off the 50. So stop at the swing, take profit at the swing, entry at the 50%. If you're new here, you're not sure what we're talking about here. So basically, we're just looking for small shifts in structure. So we want to see a high, a low, and then a move back above the high if we're looking for a long. And we would fib the leg that made the high and the leg that made the low. So you can see here we have a high, a small swing low here. So we broke that swing low. And then so once we move back above the high, then this will be our manipulation leg. And all we're doing is we're just waiting for price to come back, touch the 50% mark, and our target is going to be the swing points of the manipulation leg. So stop here, target here. So we come back, we hit the manipulation, or we hit the 50% directly, and we bounce, but we don't get to the target. So in this scenario, and I'm going to be keeping up with the win percentage as well as total handles won or lost. So this one obviously would be a loser, right? Get tagged in, it bounces, doesn't quite get to where we want it to go, comes back, stops us out. So kind of feels bad on that one, but it happens. Let's kind of look up here, though. Let's see if there was anything else that we would have missed. Excuse me. Sometimes there's a setup inside a setup, if you will. So now here we have a high. We have a low because we breached that swing low. So if it moved back above the high, that would be a small one right here. So let's kind of zoom in on that one. So we have a high because we breached that high, a low because we breached that low, move back above the high, pulls back to the 50, tags us in, then moves back above. So this would be a winner. 5.5 handles. See here. Just writing some stuff down here. Make sure we keep up with it proper. So that would do it. Once we take a trade in a zone, I'm not going to take another trade in that zone. So now we kind of zoom back out. So this was a loser. So we had a low, we had a high, then we breached that low. So technically, this would be another setup too, as soon as it happened here. But being that it's in the same zone, I don't think I would have taken it. I'm fibbing the wrong direction. Never made it back to the 50 anyway. So now we have a low, low, high. And again, this is kind of in the same zone, if you will, there. Low, high, low. So, once I take a loss in a zone or a win in a zone, I'm not taking the trade in that zone anymore. So that's one of the rules. So even though this would be a setup short here, I'm not going to take it because I've already taken a trade in that zone. I've broken that rule before, and I've realized that it's not something you should be doing there. Shouldn't be breaking the rules. So here we don't have a high yet. We do have a high, small swing high there. So a high, a low, move back above the high. Doesn't look like price ever revisited that leg. Nope, never came back to the 50. Hit the 30, but not the 50. Again, we're taking it off the 50. So now we're just looking here. You can see some sort of trade I took right here. Yeah, high, low. This is why. This is a small one that we actually took off the 30. Should have taken it off the 50. We did not there. So anyways, does it tag us in off the 50? It does. Hits the target there. 6 handles. So you really have to be diligent in these smaller time frames and really pay attention. And all you really is looking for is a swing low or a swing high broken. Once you kind of get that, then you know it should be a setup. So here we know once this breaks below this low here, we have a high. Once it breaks below this low, then it's a setup once it moves back above the high, which eventually does down there. It moved above first, so we'll fib from here. Where did it move above the high at? Let's make sure we get it right. So this right here moved above the high, comes back almost to the 50, does not get us. That's the thing. There's a small one in here too before we would have got tagged in on, before this one would have happened. So let's look at that. Because you have a high. We're kind of just chopping around here. You have a low, and then you move back above the high. So this one would have been a setup before this one was. So I probably would have taken this one. So it pulls back, down, tags us in off the 50, and then runs to the target. Oh. So yeah, that larger zone there would have been a loser, right? So once this larger zone hit right here, this would have been a loser if we took the larger zone. Since we've already taken an entry, you can see I took that entry, but I didn't trust it, so I didn't hold it for the entire move there. But once you've taken an entry in the zone, you're not going to take another one. So you can see I took the smaller one. I didn't trust it. It would have been a winner, and I still didn't take the larger one. Low, high, low, high. So all we're looking is for lows to be broken, right? So we have a high, a low, broke the low. So once we break back above the high, that would be a setup. Now, would we take this, though? We would not, because we took this trade here, and then we're in the same zone. But would it have worked? It would have worked. Price came back, tapped the 50, and bounced out of there. So it would have worked. I'm not going to count that towards the percentages, though. And not see if I'm missing anything else. Same zone. So, like I said, I'm not going to take multiple entries from the same zone. I'm going to wait for price to move out of that area, which price does here at 1 o'clock. We start to move up. So we have a high, a low, and once we move back above the high there, that would have been a setup there. High, low. Let's see how that would have worked out. I'm fibbing the wrong low there. Well, actually, no, I'm not. Yeah, high, low. Okay. So we never come back to the 50 there. We do here. But there is a, before we look at that one, we're going to look here because there's another setup in here. High, low. Never move back above the high. Then you have a high, a low. Let's see. I'm just trying to look here. Concentrate. High. I took something in there, but I took this trade off the 30. But we're taking it off the, so it would have worked off the 30 there, but we're taking it off the 50. So we have a high, a low. So this is another one here. And again, once you take one out of the zone, you're not going to take the other, right? So it looks like this one would get tagged in later, but as soon as I see this one, I'm just going to take it. I had already taken the other one, so I didn't take this one. 5 handles. So you can see it came, price came back here, tagged us in, ran to the target quickly there. Now, if you were just taking every one, which would increase your losses, then you can see this one came back, hit it, and then went. But we're not counting that one. You can take the larger zones if you want to and ignore everything in between. I don't necessarily do that, but you could do that. Something that you certainly could do. All right, so here we have a high, low, and then we move back above the high. But again, we already took one in this zone, so I wouldn't want to take another one in the same zone. We'll look at it just to see. And it wouldn't have been a trade anyway because it never came back to the 50. And kind of what I've been seeing is while I'm trading this live is off the 50 seems to be a little more consistent as far as wins and losses than if you take it off the 30. And also you're taking less drawdown off the 50 is what I've kind of seen there. So we have a high, a low, lower high, broke the low. So if price moved back above the high, we would take the entry there. So now this is our low, high. So if it breaks back below the low, which it does here, then that would be a short. So let's look. Yeah, so we'd be fibbing from here. So it breaks back below the low here, but it never comes back to the 50. So that would not be an entry. That does it for that day. Like I said, we're just going to do a few days here. I think there's 3 days. So on that particular day, we took 4 winners and 1 loser. Loser was decent size. 16 handle loser. Average winner was 6 handles. Like I said, you could just take the outside zones. It's really completely up to you how you do it. I think if you take the outside zones, the winners are probably bigger. But I'm just taking them as I see them. Whatever setup forms first, I'm taking. And then I'm not going to take any more setups in that zone. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button. I do want to say thank you guys for all the subscriptions that we've gotten in the last couple of weeks. We really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. All right, so we opened up here with a high, a low, a high, a low, a higher high. So a high, a low. So, I mean, technically speaking, I mean, I probably wouldn't take this entry because it's right at open. But you could. So once it broke the high, you're looking for it to hit the 50. Hits the 50 here. You take some drawdown. Doesn't run the target. Does not. We'll measure it anyway since it's the first one we saw. So on Tuesday, start off with an 18 handle loss if you took that one. In general, I'm not starting the strategy until about 10 a.m. That's what I've been doing, but to each his own. You can do it however you want. All right, let's see price leave this area. Price leaves. We trade down, low, high. So if we traded back above, so let's say we got a low, a high, higher low. Now we have a high here, and we breach this low, so now we have a low. So if we go above this high, that's a setup, long. If you see what I'm saying here. So as soon as we failed to go below this low, if we create a high, and then we breach that high, then now we're looking for a high, a low. We're looking for us to put in a low. So we put in a low here. So now that's, you know, a high and a low. Wait. Yeah. So price trades up a little bit, bounces right off the 50. And, oh, I forgot. Let me look at one thing right quick before I go over that one. I think I took it off already. All right, we'll look at it later. Anyways, bounces right off the 50, goes to our target. So 10 handles. First loser was 18. So now this also helps you avoid chop, right? Not going to take any more entries in here. What happened? You can see here where I took entries. Took a long. I think I got out break even, but I want price to move out of this area, out of this idiot box, right? We want price to move out of this range. Don't want to take trades in the same range again. So once we move out of there, then we'll start looking. And that just keeps you from, once you take one winner, there's no point in taking more trades in there. Just keeps you from doing something that's going to cost you money here. So a high, a low, As soon as we move back above that high, hold on, let's see. A high, yep. So this is smaller one, but this is one. So as soon as we move back above that high there, then this trade is valid. Do we get tagged in? Yes, we do. Does it run to the target here? Yes, it does. Puts you through some stuff, but it makes it. 5 handles. I'm also looking to see if we get any sort of reaction in price at all off that 50 level there. So now we move out of this area. So now we're just looking for lows to be broken, right? So once it breaks this low, then we'd be looking for a short, but obviously it never comes back. It does down here, but I don't think I'd be looking for it at that point. So now we put in a low, we put in a high, because we have a small swing high here. So we would be fibbing this leg, looking for price to return to this area for a short. Let's see what happens. Price does trade down. Is there any other setups before it returns, though? Low, no highs put in. Low, high, low. Just curious. I'm not using bias on this setup here, so we have a swing high on any of these setups. So this is a valid high. We have a swing low, so that's a valid low. So if we moved back above that, then that would be an entry, but clearly that never came back to the 50. So this comes back up, tags us in at the 50. We get a small reaction, but we don't quite get to where we need to be, and it stops us out. So let's measure the loss there. 6.5 handles. We'll just call it 7. So now we're not going to take any more trades in this zone because we already took a trade, right? So until price moves out of this zone, I'm not going to look for any more entries. So now we moved out of the zone. We have a high. We have a low. So we moved back above the high. This would be a long, but we don't clearly. So now we have a low. And we put in a high. So this would be a short setup. As soon as price moves back below there, which it does here, does it go back and tag us in off the 50? It indeed does, and runs to the target. So what is the winner there? 6 handles. And that's the close of the day. We're going to move on to one more day here, I believe. I think we have 1 day left. If you guys are interested in trading futures, we do have all the links down below. Topstep, 60% off. Haven't heard of any Black Friday day sale going on as of yet, but Apex and Bulenox do have the 90% off coupon codes down below. We also have the link to the Discord if you guys are interested in joining the Discord. $10 a month. We also have memberships open if you want to become a member to the channel. I prefer you to be in the Discord over the membership, just because the membership, you're just going to get, you don't really get a lot of value with that. That's just more or less just your comment looks different. That's all that is. So the comment looks different, or you have a different color and a badge. But teaches on whatever you like to do. You can do either or none. It's up to you. So obviously this was yesterday's action. So we're just going to start from here. We got that big move up. There's no setups in that big move up and the big move down. So we have a low here. We have a high here. And then we breach the low. So this will be a short setup. See if we ever get tagged in off the 50. So we'll be tagged in here off the 50. And does it ever hit our take profit, which was here? Does not. So let's see what that loser would be. You can see here, if you start off before 10 a.m., which this setup formed right at 10, so it's kind of 50-50 whether you would take it, but that's a loser. And then I'm not interested in taking any trades in this zone until we kind of need to move out of this area, which we just kind of moved sideways most of the day. All right, so this is out of that zone. We finally moved out, made another zone, looks like. So we put in a high, a low. It's not a low yet, so we didn't break a low, right? Correct. So high, low, made another high. Do we break a low? We do have a swing low here, so if it moves back above, that's a long. So now we have a low. So there was no high, right? A low but no high. So a low, a high, then a high, and then we got to move back below here for a short or break a low for a long. All right, so we have a high, equal low. Did that break a low? Oh, it actually did. There's a little swing low here. So it did break a low there. So once it moves back above the high, that will be a valid setup for me. And so you got this wickage down here. I'm not sure what that was about, but that was before this became valid because we had to break the high first. So once we break the high, we come back, we hit the 50% line, and then we moved up there to the target. So 4 handles. So now we're going to wait for price to move out of this area, which it does here. We sell off low, high. Excuse me. We break this swing low, so if we move back above the high, now that's a setup, which you can clearly see we never came back off the 50. So we'd still just be looking. Just chopping around here. Chopping around. We have a high, high, high. Did we break a low? Yes, we did. All right, let's fib that one. So we have a high. We broke a low. So the price come back and tag us in at the 50. Right here it did, but stopped us out. 5 handles. Yesterday's price action was pretty tough. So not very many setups there. But overall, we got, let's count the winners. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 losses on the 30-second strategy there. I think overall it might have been a losing week using the 30-second. And this is just something that, like I said, I'm testing out. I haven't really started taking all the trades on the 30-second yet, but I'm trying to test out kind of using discretion and see how that works. Let's see here. Looks like it's probably a losing week. Because the losers were much bigger than the winners, looks like. Yeah, so on this particular test, we had 66 handles in losers and 48 handles in winners, which means we lost 18 handles in profit. So 18 times 20 over these last 3 days, you would lose $360 on one contract. But one thing I have been looking at doing, as many of you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, you see I've been doing the 6-tick. Excuse me. And the interesting thing is, what I've been looking at doing is just taking the 6-tick off of these exact same setups. So basically only taking 6 ticks in profit, but putting my stop at the swing low still, right? So I was looking at that as we went back, as I was going through. I wasn't telling you guys that. But the funny thing is, we took 13 entries, and on all 13 entries, we would have got the 6 ticks. So if we just took the price, if we took the bounce off the 50 there, we would have got 6 ticks. So what is that? 6 ticks is 1.5 points. So 13 times 1.5. I don't even know what that is. So if you took the 6-stick strategy off that, you would have made 20 handles. It's not a lot of money, but it's a little bit. $400. $400 that you would have made through those 3 days. But anyways, that's going to do it for me, guys. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Just figured I'd drop a little kind of back test video. We're going to come out with some more content later on in the week. We'll be live tomorrow at 9:15 a.m., so join us for that. Otherwise, hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.